Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Prince George's County Memorial Library System's virtual events. We're going to take 1 second here to make sure our streams are up and running, and then we'll get started with the show. Facebook is good. YouTube is hopefully good. And I'm going to go with Periscope being good. And great. So good afternoon again, everyone. Welcome to the weekly community conversation series with Roberta Phillips, who is the CEO of the Prince George's County Memorial Library System. My name is Nick. I'm a colleague of Roberta's and past colleague of our guests today. We're really excited to have them on to talk about some great arts education opportunities for folks. This series is with you all every Thursday at 4:00 p.m. We're broadcasting live now from Prince George's County, Maryland, and then our guests are elsewhere in DC and I think in Montgomery County. Is that right?
Frederick.
Cool. So we're coming to you from all over. This video will be available on demand after the fact so that you all can tune in, spread the love, share it with your friends, and get connected. We have some really great resources that we're going to talk to you about today. And without further ado, I'll turn things over to Roberta. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Nick. Hey, everybody. Good to see you again. We are super excited to have a new partnership with the Washington Performing Arts. It's called FAM. And we're going to get into what that acronym means. But joining me today are Alexis Cooper. She is the Programming and Production Coordinator. She previously worked at the Aspen Music Festival in Colorado and is a violinist. And she is a native Marylander and a graduate of the University of Virginia. Fun fact, she is such a Marylander that she has an amazing collection of flag swag. So, keep that in mind. And then we have Elisabeth Staal, who is the Education and Community Program Coordinator. And she works as an inclusion facilitator and teacher at Imagination Stage. And she was previously the Community Education Coordinator at the Boston Ballet. So we are pleased to have both of you ladies with us today. Thank you for joining us. Elisabeth's fun fact is that she is on the Young Professionals Council for Special Olympics in DC, where she brings her passion for inclusion, arts, and education to this athletic arena. So thank you for all you do. So the library is excited about the new partnership, Family Art. It's a virtual series, of course, because we can't be in person. But can you tell us a little bit more about the partnership and about the Washington Performing Arts as an organization?
Sure. So Washington Performing Arts, we are a presenting organization in the district. So we present a variety of different artists and art forms throughout the DC area. So we're really able to reach many different neighborhoods and corners of DC because we don't have our own physical venue. So we don't really have a home. We affectionately like to say that the city is our stage because you can find us in a park, you can find us on a concert stage. We like to be really creative with our partnerships and where we have our programs. So along with our main stage programming, we engage with a lot of different education programs and community partnerships to elevate the performing arts in the district and surrounding metropolitan area. And our ethos is really that we love partnerships. We really depend and we rest on them. And along with other arts and community organizations, we try to partner with them to do what we do best, which is elevate the arts in the district. So we're really happy to be able to partner with PGCMLS to be able to put a lot of goodies into our FAM program series.
Yes, and did you ask also about the FAM partnership specifically?
Yeah.
At the tail end? Great. So FAM stands for Family Art Moments. It is programming geared towards children ages 5 through 8 with the expectation that younger siblings and parents will participate as well. So truly all ages are welcome and encouraged to participate in this programming. This programming really started with this idea that Alexis and I talked about of creating these meaningful arts experiences where the magic of a performance can be bridged with the value of an educational classroom experience, which results in just these super fun programs that are fun, but also really educational and provide a meaningful access point to the arts for children of a young age. So these programs in their virtual space, each program within FAM has its own web page, which includes a 20 to 30 minute teaching artist video from a Washington Performing Arts teaching artist that has been historically involved in our education programming. Then there's also the video from Prince George's County Public Libraries for the story time. And then as well as some custom coloring book pages designed by our graphic designer and illustrator that you can download and fill out. For some events, they're coloring pages. Other events, they're more of activity sheets, a little more interactive, with also a link to a raffle where if you share with us a photo of your completed activity sheet or coloring page, you'll be entered for a chance to win a copy of the book read in the story time on that page.
Oh, that's awesome. And, I think it's really important, especially during times when people are struggling with stress, to really reach out to the arts. Can you talk a little bit about what the arts does for us, especially during difficult times?
Sure. I mean, I've been thinking about this question a lot as we've, obviously been at stay-at-home orders. And the first thing I think people really turned to when they were stuck in the confines of their own homes and in stressful situations is they turned to the arts to alleviate that for themselves, right? So they turned to binging something on Netflix or watching a positive movie. Or I saw an article where they reported that Spotify rates of listening for classical music playlists had actually jumped in April because I think people really just wanted that calm and serene time in their lives amongst a bunch of, stress and chaos. And so the arts really enable people to find either a distraction from something that's bothering them in their lives, comfort. You can find expression on any sort of emotion that you are feeling or anything that's being reflected in the state of the world right now, you can find in an artistic expression. So we fill our time, we fill our hearts, and we fill our brains with the arts, whether we realize that we're doing it or not, whether it's intentional or not. And the arts, they will always be there for us. In the future, it'll be there for us, but we also have to make sure that we are going to support them so they continue to be there for us in the future.
Definitely. And I would add from an educational standpoint, the arts have always been such a wonderful vehicle for socio-emotional learning and how you process what's going on around you. So from that standpoint as well, it's more important than ever to be able to provide those tools to students and children to help them express how they're feeling this moment and also process what's happening around them.
Absolutely. And PGCMLS always supports the arts. Obviously, writing is our biggest art form, but just the whole creation process is so fascinating and so important. And it's so important to us that we're working on our new strategic framework. And one of the focus areas is how do we champion the arts? How do we champion those creatives? And if somebody in our audience wanted to do that, what ways can they support the creators who bring us this joy and this expression?
I think, there's always the financial aspect and understand that people are in kind of differing financial situations right now, but artists are in an incredible tight spot because they cannot work because it's not safe for them to work on the concert hall. So I think a lot of artists are turning to live streams and avenues like that. So if people feel compelled to open their wallets and financially support artists during this time, that's one way they can do that, as well as reaching out or looking for different art forms maybe that they don't normally engage with and kind of opening their minds to a lot of different art forms and supporting them that way, bringing attention to it, and just sharing also with the people in your life. Hey, I saw this really cool concert live stream someone did. This artist said something that spoke to me. Just really highlighting it so that it can reach a better signal to others around you.
Yeah. Elisabeth, did you want to add anything?
I agree with Alexis. I think in this moment in particular with the live streams, there's such opportunity for exposure for artists. And so exactly what she said, by giving them some love online in that live stream and sharing it with people it's really valuable, especially if you aren't able to financially give. That's a really valuable way to support them. If you're looking for a place to get some of that content. I think Washington Performing Arts is a great one because we do present such a variety of artists. So if you're really looking just to check out a bunch of stuff or find something new, we could be a great starting point for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So how did you all come to the arts? Because I'm always interested in people's stories. Like, how did you all of a sudden say, I'm going to be an art educator? Or, I just think it's interesting.
Elisabeth, do you want to go first, or should I take a stab at it?
Sure, I'll go first. I was lucky enough to grow up with the arts and to have parents who were really supportive of it and threw me in right away. So I grew up dancing and in a lot of musical theater, and that stayed with me throughout my life. There are still things I actively participate in. So I knew I had this passion for the arts. I knew I loved it. What I didn't know, and what nobody told me, is that it's very feasible to have a career in the arts. And so to my beautiful surprise, when I'm at a career fair in college for internships, there is like a whole section dedicated to arts internships. So I was also lucky enough to be able to intern with some Boston-based arts organizations. And one of those internships led to some part-time employment in college with the Boston Ballet, which led to my ultimate first full-time position out of college, where I stayed for a few years. And through that opportunity and my time there, I was further shown this whole field dedicated to arts and disability, which really just combined a lot of different experiences and passions that already existed within me. And so as soon as I knew that this was a thing that existed and you could work for, then I was sold. And from there, it's kind of blossomed into arts education access in general, which of course includes a whole slew of avenues. And then I was just hooked and so excited to find Washington Performing Arts, where the whole organization, especially the education department and all the education work, all of it is about providing equitable access to our education programs and finding new ways we can show up for our community. And so here I am, and I think I'm in this field to stay.
Great. How about you, Alexis?
So I have my story on how I got into the arts is I still think it's very funny. Almost 20 years later. So my start in the arts was through a public school music program. They are so important, and I will plug them forever. So in elementary school, they gave us the option: you can do chorus, you can do band, or you can do orchestra. And band and chorus rehearsed before school, really early in the morning, and orchestra was during school. And I hated waking up early in the morning as a young kid. My mom had to drag me out of bed. So I was like, you know what? Let's do orchestra. I can't do the early mornings. So I chose the violin. I chose a stringed instrument, and it turns out that I had kind of a natural gift at it, and stuck with it. I thought it was just fun. I made so many great friends through it, friends that I'm still best friends with today. So I went to college to get a degree in politics because I enjoyed that. And I think I surprised a lot of people that I didn't go to get, a master's in music or go to music school. But as I was going through school and thinking about what kind of job I was going to have after college, I realized that I didn't quite think that the life on the Hill was for me, or politics was for me. I really loved what I was learning, but I could kind of tell that it wasn't quite it for me. And so I had to think, what am I going to do? And I realized everything that I did outside of academics at college, except for maybe one activity, was music or art related. So I was like, you know what, this is probably trying to tell me something. So I listened to that gut feeling. I applied for an internship at the Kennedy Center with the National Symphony Orchestra as an operations intern. And they luckily accepted me, and I got to be their intern for the summer. And I got to see all of the stuff backstage that happens, everything that it takes to put a concert on. And I found it fascinating. When we're sitting in a concert hall, we see the conductor come out on stage, we see the musicians play, and then we go home. And we're like, that was great. If anyone could see the curtain kind of lifted behind the stage, what all goes on behind it, they would also think it's fascinating, because it's just a really fun experience seeing how all those things come together. So from there on, I did a couple more internships. I had a summer position at the Aspen Music Festival and School, which is a classical music festival in Aspen, Colorado. And then from there on, I was really fortunate to land my job at Washington Performing Arts now. And I get to be backstage. I get to kind of help produce everything. And I'm not seen while I'm doing it, which is kind of funny. But, I do really enjoy seeing the process of how things get built up from the ground to the end finished product. So if I'm working a concert where maybe that process has been kind of stressful or kind of hard, I always know like the minute that I see the artist come from backstage and get on stage, it's like a feeling of relief and just joy and happiness that washes over me. And it just makes it all worth it, all the stressful times. But it is fun. It's not just all stress.
Yeah. Well, and I tinkered with the arts. I took 8 years of ballet. As soon as I got on point, I said, this really hurts, and decided that it was not for me. And I also played viola for many years. So, commonalities here.
Wow.
It's great when kids and young people discover, like you said, that there is a place in the arts. And you're talking about not only playing an instrument or actually being the dancer, but what happens in the whole realm of the production, and looking at creative thinking, problem-solving skills, collaboration, all those skills that are so important to hone for any profession can be used in the arts. And so I think it's great that you both had art backgrounds, but you're using them in slightly different ways that exposes our listeners now to the many ways you can be in the arts. And I think when people say the arts, they think you have to be the stereotypic starving artist and, hoping to get a painting sold so you can buy bread, but that's not true. So I just want to thank you for your stories. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Washington Performing Arts major education and community engagement programs?
Yes, we do a lot of education programs. They're all talked about on our website as well. So if anyone wants to learn more, I encourage you to check them out there. I'll try to give a brief overview. So a lot of our education programs are in direct partnership with DC Public Schools, which is a partnership we're super thankful to have. That allows us to really make some great programming. So in schools, we offer a couple different types of residencies. We have some short-term residencies that include about 5 visits from a teaching artist, either an individual or a group. And they come and visit a classroom for those like 4 to 5 times. And then it culminates with an assembly style performance for the entire school at the end of it. We also have some long-term residencies, our Capital Arts Partnership, which is one of the DCPS partnerships. And those residencies are long-term. Most of them are 20 weeks long, usually spread out throughout the school year. And they're all totally customizable to whatever the school or teacher requesting want from us. So past examples include us providing teaching artists to help build up jazz ensembles or choruses or string programs, dance programs. This past year, we were really excited to expand that model and set up a custom residency in an elementary medically fragile classroom in DCPS with their music teacher there. And so I love that program. There's so much potential there. It's really just how we can best serve the teachers. We also offer concerts in schools, which is just that assembly style performance for the whole school that I mentioned previously. And we also offer, sorry, I did make a list because we have so many. That's what I'm glancing at to make sure I don't forget anything major. We also have our Embassy Adoption Program, also a partnership with DCPS, which is one, I think, of our most famous programs. Embassy Adoption Program is when 5th and 6th grade classrooms are paired with an embassy in the city, and a representative from that embassy, the ambassador or different cultural representative, goes and visits that classroom throughout the year to teach the students about the culture, history, and arts of their country. And then, permitting in-person gatherings are safe. It culminates with the students getting to visit that embassy at the end of the year and present to the staff what they've learned. So it's a really unique, really beautiful program that we're lucky to be part of. We also offer 2 competitions annually. They both happen in the spring. Our Fader competition is for students all ages K through 12 who play string instruments. And then we have our Misbin competition in partnership with Levine Music, which is for chamber music ensembles of all ages. Finally, I'll mention our Enriching Experiences for Seniors program, which is when we bring arts experiences, usually mostly performances of different genres and styles, to senior communities around the DMV. I'll add on that the EES, the program I just mentioned, and our assembly style performances and short-term residencies, all of our programs that are available to DCPS, but also other schools as well in the DMV area. So if anyone's watching and part of a Maryland school, you can definitely reach out to us.
Prince George's County. Come on, guys. Yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Yeah. That's a wonderful resource. And, it's interesting that you talked about some of these programs and how they affect people. My mother suffered from Alzheimer's, and I remember so distinctly that she couldn't remember what she had for breakfast, but you could start singing a song from 1940. She knew every word. She knew the beat. She knew the melody. And it was just, it's one of those things that just becomes a part of you. And, again, it probably was more important to remember that song than what she had for breakfast.
Yeah. It's a beautiful experience. One of my favorite enriching experiences for seniors memories is going to watch a performance by Conqueron West African Dance Company, and a resident at the senior community had recently turned 102.
Wow.
And he got up and he was singing with them, and it was just awesome to be able to be there for.
Yeah, that's really great. So, how are you working? I mean, I know you've just started a partnership with us. How have you worked with the Library of Congress and then with DCPL and others? Because I'm hoping that because we're broadcasting that, some of our neighborhood libraries, in Maryland and the DMV will say, "Why aren't we doing that? Why aren't you?"
Absolutely. So originally, Family Art Moments was supposed to be an in-person series, and the performances were going to take place at some DC public library branches as well as some local bookstores. And so right away, Alexis and I identified the value and the connection between literature and the arts, and knew that was something we wanted to be at the forefront of this programming, and is something that was important to us to maintain the essence of when pivoting to the digital platform. Right. And so we're so excited when we found out that you guys had the interest and bandwidth, and we're just ready to go. We are so excited to be able to keep this component in a really meaningful way. And so that's definitely something we want to continue as we move forward with Family Art Moments and figure out what the rest of its lifespan is going to look like. Sure. I'll let Alexis speak a little more on the Library of Congress piece. We have partnered with them in the past as part of our Mars Arts DC programming, which is funded by Jacqueline Badger Mars and Mars Incorporation, who's also a funder of Family Art Moments.
Yeah, so the LOC, we actually do have a pretty kind of extensive relationship with the Library of Congress. So with Mars Arts DC, we normally provide the artists for their summer concert series, which unfortunately couldn't happen this summer. But any other summer, when it's safe to gather, the library will have performances from local artists that we help shepherd in, and then also we'll have a movie showing on the lawn of the Library of Congress. So it's one of those great quintessential DC things that you can do. So along with being Mars Arts DC partners, we also have collaborated and co-presented performances with the Library of Congress, because they have actually an auditorium in the Library of Congress for performances. So sometimes we will be able to have some of our bigger concerts there as well. And also a big, what's the word I'm looking for? One of our coworkers who now works at the PGCMLS system, our coworker Nick, who we love dearly, he used to work for WPA. When he was working with us, was such a champion of getting our partnerships with the DC public libraries and other library systems just cemented in kind of in what we do. So we also thank him for that, because he really laid the ground for that momentum.
Yeah. He's creating a lot of buzz for our system now, as you can well imagine. Yeah, we are partnering with everybody, and we love it, because it's such a great way to share resources and to get people connected. And I think, right now there's kind of a sadness about not connecting with people. And it's just even great to see you both, because I can watch you and I can see your face. You don't have to have a mask on, It's like just seeing someone smile right now is rough. You can't do it. And, we also at PGCMLS want to, again, support the arts. And so we have performing art programs on Wednesdays with Summer at Your Library. We have STEM, we have Crafternoon. All those things, music lessons on demand through Artist Works. And of course, many videos of performances on our online library, like PBS Hamilton documentary or Canopy or Hoopla. So there's lots of ways between our organizations, yours and ours, that people can really just plug into the arts. And I think letting people know that all these things are available is really great. I think I told somebody one time, if I had a dime for every time the library, somebody said to me, I didn't know the library did that. And you probably have heard the same thing, right? We could be all retired and, drinking drinks with an umbrella someplace. But it's really great to see the offerings to people in this region. And there's such a wealth of it. I think we touched on how the arts can support people during time of crisis, but I think it's also a way to connect. Can you
Absolutely
elaborate on that for me?
Want to take it first, Alexis?
I'm percolating, but
okay.
I mean, definitely, no, I would take a stab at it. No, it's a great question. The arts is a way to connect. I mean, artistic experiences, whether you are creating them or whether you are taking them in, is a way of also, it's a very shared experience, right? So whenever let's say we watch an Oscar winning film and we host a movie night with our friends, we're talking about the movie, we're talking about how that film was created and things, how it impacted us. And that goes the same for even in virtual times. Even though we can't physically be together, we can still sit at our screens and tune into the same live stream or tune into the same concert and share what that message the artist is trying to convey, or what emotions they're going through, or what they're trying to express. And along with that, I mean, you don't have to be, I think there is a big misconception on the arts and kind of who is allowed to do it or when they're allowed to do it. So similar to your analogy of, if I had a dime every time someone said this, if I had a dime every time someone told me, oh, you're a violinist? I used to play the piano and I stopped, but I wish I could do it again. You can, there are ways to keep doing it. Just because we're not teenagers in grade school anymore and, are used to doing lots of extracurricular activities doesn't mean that we can't be artists or musicians in our own lives. And that being said, if you are, it doesn't take much to create, whether you consider yourself a professional artist or not. Everyone can create something, and you can create that. You can share it with others. You can play music with others. You can draw with others. There's just so much space within the arts for collaboration and sharing. And it's not really something that lends itself to always being a closed off thing. It's only something one person does. It's created to be shared and be put out there.
And I think as adults, we tend to judge, when you're kids, you draw something and you're like, look at my picture, even though the people you show it to have no idea what it is. They say, wow, that's great. And then when you get to be a certain age, that doubt creeps in, that, oh my gosh, I'm not very good at this, creeps in. And I think, it's easier said than done, but I think if you just do what makes you happy. I love to dance, so I'll turn on the radio and dance. Nobody has to see me, but it's just something that is an expression and it makes me feel good. So I do it. My staff knows I like to dance. So
our fear of looking stupid is holding us back in that sense.
That's right.
Definitely.
Yeah. Elisabeth, what would you say?
I totally agree. And especially, and we kind of touched on this earlier, talking about how when you participate in the arts growing up, you learn teamwork and collaboration and all these different skills. And that's definitely, something, finding that connection being in virtual learning is definitely a challenge that arts teachers are trying to solve every day. But I think even just the knowledge that other people are trying the same thing you are or learning the same thing you are can be really powerful too, and kind of motivate you a little bit. I'd also say that I think it could be really beneficial to find that even just like one person who you know who is also interested in checking out a live stream or an education video or something and doing it together. Even if like you're total novices, like that's even better. Like find your people who are also interested in this thing. So then you have the people to get in like a group text about, or like your thoughts on this, whatever, when you're thinking about it 2 days later.
Have the watch party.
Right. But I think that connection point, the more I think about it, it just resonates so much with family art moments, because the expectation of younger siblings and parents also being part of it, we really want to create this group experience between the family members during these programs. And especially with, when you this fear when you're an adult of looking dumb or not wanting to try something new or not wanting to admit something's new for you, I think, use your kid as like a scapegoat a little bit and be like, I'm just watching this because like they're watching it. And then like, do it with them and experience it with them. And I think that can also help us as adults let go a little bit and open up to some new art forms that maybe we just didn't know about before.
And your kids don't care. They just want your time. They just want to spend time with them. They don't care if you look silly,
Yeah, they probably love it if you do.
Yeah. My grandsons all the time, they're like, Mima, you're so silly. And I said, oh, no, it's fun. But I think it is really important. It's a way to connect. It's a way to open up. We also have Creative Bug, which you can take a class. And again, you could take a class with a friend for free. And that's another big part of all the things that we're offering as a library system and with you as a partner. It's free, people. Free
is amazing
right now. And so I think that's another thing to kind of remember, is that this is what makes our community a community, is that we come together and we celebrate. And especially important now, since there's not as much to celebrate perhaps as usual. So it's a way to foster that joy for sure. I'm wondering if anybody in our audience has any questions for Elisabeth or Alexis about the program. And if there is a question, can Alexis and Elisabeth tell us about each of the artists featured in FAM?
Absolutely. Alexis, want me to take it since they're mostly education people?
Sure, take it away.
So I'll go in order. The two artists and the two programs that were released yesterday include Cantere Latin American Music, which is Miss Cecilia and Mr. Danny, and they form a duo. They have been longtime teaching artists with Washington Performing Arts, doing programming in school, and all their program is centered around Latin American music. And they always present their programming in a really entertaining, educational manner. They show you lots of instruments from Latin America. They tell you what it's made of, what region it's from. They always have a map up and tell you where certain songs are from. They're teaching you. They teach songs in Spanish and Portuguese, and they do it all while having just a ball, and it's so much fun. The second teaching artist from yesterday is Ariana Ross, who is the executive director of Story Tapestries, a Maryland-based organization, and she is a storyteller, master teaching artist. Story Tapestries also long-time involvement with Washington Performing Arts education programs. And she does a storytelling performance where you travel through the use of books and stories, and you travel to Alaska and then Indonesia as she tells you a couple folk tales. Really fun. Coming up next week is Keri Paladin. These are all longtime teaching artists of ours, I'm realizing now, so I'm going to stop saying it after everyone. They're just all longtime teaching artists who we just love dearly. Keri Paladin is a soprano. She's an opera singer, and she has a great program called Singing is Your Superpower, and she talks about using your voice and finding your voice and using it to change the world. So just lovely and magical. After Keri Paladin, also from Story Tapestries, we have Jamal Collier, aka Mr. Root, and he has a Beats and Rhymes program where he beatboxes, plays a didgeridoo, he raps for us, all while telling us great stories and lessons. After that, we'll pivot to some visual art and welcome Karen O. Brown, who's a visual artist in the DC area, and she'll do a bookmaking workshop teaching us how to make books out of materials you likely have at home, like computer paper, cereal boxes, things like that. And finally, we'll end with Conqueron West African Dance Company, who I mentioned earlier, who will do their Visit to Africa program for us. So that's who we got in the lineup.
That's great.
We're really excited about it.
Can people watch them anytime? Do they have to watch them live, or?
They can watch them anytime. They all become available at 11 a.m., but then they stay there. The only thing with any type of time constraint is the raffle. The raffles expire a week after it's released. But even after the raffle is over, everything else will stay there.
Yeah, we really wanted to, when we were pivoting to making this virtual, we realized that people were kind of getting stream fatigue sometimes. And, it might be hard to corral kids, everyone come and do this thing right now. So we really wanted to give parents and families and guardians just the flexibility to be able to do these programs on their own time.
Great. And we have a scroll that says visit WashingtonPerformingArts.org to enjoy family art moments. So that's great. Another question from one of our viewers. I know we have held an open mic night. Have you also done something similar?
I don't believe we've done many open mic nights, at least not during, stay-at-home orders, but it's definitely something exciting that it would be interesting to look into.
Yeah. Again, we're here for you. Great. Any other questions for our guests?
I'll add real quick. If you're visiting our website to find family art moments, you'll need to first go into the home delivery section of our website. And then you will find all the family art moments videos as they're released under the education and exploration section.
Great. Thank you for those tips.
And also coming up in early 2020, if patrons want to know more about maybe our plans for next year, they can also look on our website and find more information on our Home Delivery Plus program.
Got me intrigued. Can you give us a little sneak peek of that?
Sure. It's so we are right now planning on being able to broadcast performances from some of our artists that we are slated to present for next year. I can't give anything too specific, but just keep your eyes peeled on our website, and we should have more information about it soon.
You're a tease, Alexis. That's great, because that makes everybody go back to the site and see it. So I think we're all in agreement that during this kind of difficult time with COVID and civil unrest and a wealth of other issues that our country is facing, that there is definitely some solace and some joy to be found in the arts. And again, you can sing, you can dance, you can play an instrument, you can draw, you can read, all of those rich ways to embrace the arts, whether you're doing it yourself or you're watching those performances or reading, are great things to really, really help kids and families and everybody, actually. So I think I wanted to thank you all for being here. If you have any last moments of wisdom, lay it on us.
Love to hear what everyone's reading too.
Oh,
Ooh.
yeah. We always want to know what our guests are reading.
I'm currently almost done The Water Dancer.
The Water Dancer.
So I have my books right here. I'm reading Creative Quest by Questlove, if people know him. This is a book all about creativity. And also, I read mostly, I'm a big baker and a big cook. So I read a lot of cookbooks, like actually read them like they're books. So I'm making my way through icing on the cake, how to decorate cakes very, very beautifully.
I'm reading Community by Peter Block. I recommend this for anybody who does community work. It's all about the structure of belonging, but it's great because it talks about really just getting people together and what the energy and the potential of what happens when we connect and we start really thinking together on how to solve problems or lift each other up or whatever it is that we're facing. So
I'm going to hop on for 1 second with my library surprise of the day.
Okay.
Alexis's book got me really excited. Did you know that we have ebook cookbooks? Like, it's most people don't realize this, but like
Alexa
galore without having to like take up space in your home. So check it out. That's like one of those random things that you would never maybe realize that the library has, but we've got it for you. Vivian, did you have a question? I see you raising your hand there. Do you want to come on screen? I can't hear you, Vivian, unfortunately, unless, do you want to type it in the chat? I see Vivian talking. Yeah, real quick. Hi, Vivian.
Hi. What I wanted to say was, since this pandemic, I found so much to do on the library online, and before I know it, it's time to go to bed. So I'm always looking. It's just so much, and I'm so amazed at what I can find, and so interesting, and it keeps my attention. I want to thank everybody.
Aw,
Well,
thank you so
Vivian.
much. And now you know why Vivian's our #1 fan.
Yeah.
We so appreciate it. Thank you. And for all our listeners, we thank you, and we hope you experience FAM with your family soon. Look for those on our website, pgcmls.info. Any other parting words of wisdom, Nick, as our producer?
Yes. So, Washington Nationals are the partner of Summer at Your Library with the Prince George's County Memorial Library System this year, which is super cool. Roberta got to throw out the virtual first pitch the other night, which was pretty awesome. She had more airtime than DC. Sorry, DC. Yeah, so folks can log a lot of different things this summer, rather, excuse me, instead of just reading. So you can read 30 minutes a day, you can attend a virtual program, or you can use our online resources. You get points, you get badges, and then you can win some awesome prizes, including a hardcover copy of the new stamped remix book by Jason Reynolds and Ibram X. Kendi. There's a limited supply of those, so get your points done quickly. And also a bunch of other great prizes, including a 529 college fund for teenagers, which will help you get started with your next chapter in life. And then there will be Nationals tickets for whenever they have in-person games where we can go to as well. So I encourage everyone to sign up for that at pgcmls.info/summer-at-your-library. And that will be
I think I'm going to sign up right after we hang up.
For everybody.
Be a neighbor in the DMV and still participate.
That's right.
Awesome. That's all. Thanks, everyone. We'll be back next Thursday.
Thanks. See you next time.
Thank you.
Vivian.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.